Hello again. I'm really happy to have you for this seventh session together. And the agenda today is twofold. First, I will present you, as I put as the title, a brief and also incomplete history of the OSM mapping in the humanitarian and development sectors. Okay, from my own experience, and also I grabbed some information, of course, in the web regarding that. I think it's also important, considering the title of this course, not to be only focused on technical aspect, but also to put that in a bit of a context. And some of you are actually humanitarian workers, so it's also interesting to get this feedback of these now almost 15 years of experience OpenStreetMap in the humanitarian sector. And that will take more or less the half of the session, and the second half would be focused on advanced mapping. As I said last time, I will show you how to coordinate field mapping with OSM, sharing basically areas of mapping between mappers in OSM. I will show you how to do that very quickly with JOSM and WhatsApp, for example. But in our case, we don't have a WhatsApp group, so we will use Discord. And after that, I will show you advanced mapping features. I could even add in JOSM. So we will learn about the multi-polygon buildings basically with a hole in the middle, and there will be an introduction also to the OpenStreetMap relations regarding the multi-polygon type of relations. And show you also how to map object with complex shapes that you can have to do sometimes when mapping in JOSM. And this will also introduce the basics of land cover mapping that my colleagues, the ones from the mapping team, are doing on a daily basis. And when you remember, I show you on OpenStreetMap the areas of work of UN maps, and you have all these very detailed areas, because basically all the land cover is mapped. I will also show you how the basics of that, because it's a bit complex, but I would do that on a short, easy example, I would say, on something I do on a personal side, so in a context I know well. So before I start, is there any pending question? Nothing? No. Okay. So I will start with this presentation of the OSM mapping in the humanitarian and development, brief and incomplete, unfortunately, history. I try to do it in something like less than 1 hour. I will actually use these items, this organized bullet points. I don't have slides for that because it would take me hours to do that, but I put a lot of links, and I will try to make it a bit lively, even if there's no slide for that. And as usual, when I make a pause and my mouse is disappearing, is because people are entering and I need to click on the OK button to let them enter and join us. So we are now more than 20. That's better. Okay. So as you can see, regarding the introduction of OpenStreetMap in the humanitarian and development sectors, I mean, the starting dates is between 2008 and 2010. Okay, I will explain why. In my presentation, I will make some time span like between two some years, starting in final years for one specific period. I would say it's some of them we could argue for the starting or final date, but that's the broad story. So I would say I could even maybe I will add some subtitle for every period. That's, I would say, 2008, 2010, a bit of the prehistory of OSM in the humanitarian sector. Every time I will put you a context for you to figure out what was, I mean, the generally technical context or some stakeholders involved during that period of time. Okay. So at that time, need to figure out that there were some tools that, like the code FOD that, I forgot the link for this, but it was the common operational data set or feature data operational data sets. That's a UN language to talk about the core geographic data everyone in the sector needs for to facilitate the humanitarian actions. And there was already a platform to share that, but it was not populated as it could be. All the humanitarian, and it's still the case, all the humanitarian stakeholders do not share all the data, unfortunately. And the baseline data, the one we can see in OpenStreetMap, the roads, the buildings, the waterways, etc. There were some attempts to create that in the humanitarian sector, but never, I mean, came to something that was usable, large scale for everyone. Okay, so there was a need for the humanitarian from the humanitarian sector regarding the baseline data. And at that time, OpenStreetMap was only 4 years old, and there was no many volunteers, as we can see. And 2005, 6, and 8, it was less than 100,000 users. It will really increase. This is a logarithmic scale, of, obviously. But it's really the starting years of OpenStreetMap. And regarding the data itself, of course, it was absolutely not comparable with what we have now. And especially in the developing countries. There was already an existing example of a community mapping experience using OpenStreetMap. There's something, a project that has been documented a lot at that time. It was called Map Kibera. Okay, it's still a running project. And it was basically a project that made where's Kibera here? It was, it's here. It was a blank spot in all the official maps in Nairobi. It's one of the largest slum in the hemisphere, and OpenStreetMap allows actually to let the local people and to map their territory. Okay, and there were also these base maps used for a lot of community involving action, data journalism, and things like that. Okay. And HOT, the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, was not existing at that time, but it was the people that will found it in 2010 were already they already met I would say. So it's good that they documented that in the OSM wiki. So you can find that written by them. Very short, but you have this information. It's always good to have that, and I think the wiki is the best place to put this information. So basically, it was the meeting of a few people. Some people from with an IT side, some people mixing the IT side with a community mapping aspect. The one from MapKeeper, that's Michael Marin. The other one was more tech people, and there was also one person was Nicolas Chavin, that he was working for WFU at that time, and that's when he met the people from already involved in OpenStreetMap, he thought that it was actually the good platform for what the humanitarian sector was needing for has been needing for years, and they joined, and they started, as you can see. That's I think the second link. In the activities, there was activities in the late 2000 years 2000. Yes, that's it. So it's here. Okay. So there was project in Gaza. You can see on this thing in Philippines, etc. So there was already them before the NGO was funded with just a collective, and they were already outreaching the humanitarian sector, generally where there was a specific need, the one in Gaza, for example. Okay, so involving generally some field surveys, some data imports, and things like that. There is already some analysis I found out that about the voluntary geographic information, so the one provided by the crowd. So this is an old article published by Michael Goodchild, who's very early 2010. Okay, and obviously talking about the quality aspect from this crowdsource data.